So this week I want to talk about the difference between confidence and arrogance, okay? And I'm treating all of these videos in this kind of informal series as sort of a process, and let's just see what comes of it. And really, I'm mostly interested in your comments and having a dialogue. So far, I'm a little disappointed in that the quality of the comments have just been kind of like, here's someone's comment, well, it's this. They'll say what they think, but then they're not really kind of fleshing out how they got to that process, or how is it that you feel a certain way or think a certain way or believe what you believe. So really, I'm encouraging everyone to kind of provide the receipts. And I'm not here to say, well, you're wrong because your thought process is this way and that way, and this makes you a bad person, all that kind of stuff. You need to kind of decouple your sense of self from what it is that you know or think you know or believe, because believe me, I do the same thing. I'm wrong plenty of times. And the more that I can practice sort of taking in information and not attaching my own sense of self-worth to anything that I think I believe, or I think I know, or I think I understand, the better off I am, because it frees me from some kind of, emotionally kind of immature attachment to some sort of belief or idea, because that's not really helping any of us, and it's leading us into some really bad places in our own lives and in the world in general. So I'm doing the best I can to try to help you guys switch on at least the people in my audience that are really into this sort of thing. Okay, self-exploration, personal growth, spirituality, that kind of stuff, and of course, art, beauty, truth, philosophy, all those wonderful things. Because really, this is a channel to do with art. At the end of the day, artistic expression and exploring ideas, and that's really what this is all about. But the artist, whatever your art happens to be, personal growth is the name of the game. Personal growth and exploration is really what it's all about. So let's get to it. So I'm talking about confidence versus arrogance. Okay, so first let's just start with the basic definition. So going to Merriam-Webster again, and the definition of confidence is the quality or state of being certain or certitude, okay? Now I'll get to what certitude is. But essentially, the state of being certain is, it doesn't mean that you're right about everything. It doesn't mean that you pretend to know. In fact, if you're confident, you can confidently say, I don't know. Or you can confidently say, could you please explain that? Because I don't think I understand that. Or, something along those lines. So confidence isn't knowing everything, walking around, I'm certain of everything. You can be very certain that you don't know. And that's a key feature that we need to keep in mind, and we need to remember, is that part of being confident is being confident enough to admit that you don't know. A confident person is not a know-it-all. In fact, any confident person will tell you without any sort of feeling, down on themselves, or without any shame. A confident person will tell you, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't understand. Could you explain it to me? So there is nothing more empowering than confidently proclaiming that you don't understand and that you'd like to get some more information. Okay, so now I have a little bit of a problem with this confidence definition a little bit, because confidence is defined as the quality or state of being certain or certitude. So I want to look up what certain is. Okay, let's just get down to basics here. So certainty, according to Merriam-Webster, is something that is certain. Okay, well, we have a problem, right? Because that's kind of a fail from Merriam-Webster, because to define a word by the same word is just goofy. So let's go to the Entom Online, which is my favorite site for the entomology, and let's see if we can find out a little bit more about this word certain and kind of get into the roots of this. So it's from the 1300s, and originally a variant past participle of sonare or sonere, which means to distinguish, decide, literally means to sift or separate. That's it right there. To sift or separate, to be certain. Okay? So to be certain about something takes some work. It takes some effort. It's a process of sifting, separating, sorting. Okay? You're sorting. So if you're certain of something, you've actually done the work. Okay? You haven't just sat around and, oh, that sounds good to me, but you've actually, and you haven't taken it on, someone's authority that you trust or you like, but you've actually, gone in and you've done the homework, you have the receipts, and you're confident, okay, and you're certain because you've actually separated, sifted, you've gone through it, you've worked it out for yourself. You might have gone through some experiences, which of course is the best teacher, and you can be certain about something. Even then, there's something to be learned, of course. So it isn't to say that you're because you're certain this is a fixed view and that, cannot be refined. It cannot be sifted any further. It cannot be separated any further. Of course it can, because everything is a process. So that is confidence and certainty in general. Now, let's compare that to arrogance. So Merriam-Webster, yet again, Merriam-Webster defines arrogance as an attitude of superiority manifested in an overbearing manner or in a presumptuous claims or assumptions. Okay? So to be arrogant is to take an attitude of superiority, and of course the superior position cannot ever sort of admit that it's a person who's taken a superior position. Okay, automatically that presumes that the other person is wrong, first of all, and there's nothing to be learned from the other. And also the arrogant person takes on an attitude that there is nothing wrong about their position, or there's nothing to be sifted or further refined or further learned. So it's kind of a fixed position, arrogance, in that sense. Okay, and I have talked about this idea of being in a fixed sort of belief system or fixed mindset, where you're kind of trapped in sort of subscribing to something that's already been ready-made by someone else. It's kind of fixed, instead of going into the process and your own experience and sifting and refining, right, and using certainty in that process. And of course, to be certain, you can be certain of something, but still you can be in a process. You can be in a process mindset where you're still refining what it is that you know, and that's a lifelong journey. I mean, if you're in a fixed sort of mindset and you have a view, and you're just going to hold to that view, what happens when you're in a position where, well, that view doesn't work for you anymore? Well, then you have to jump. So commonly, what someone will do is jump to another fixed position, the other side, right? Or that kind of thinking. That's completely that's not helping anybody. It only divides. It only creates, them over there, us over here, this group, that group. And really, it's not doing anyone any kind of favors, okay? So I guess my message with this video, and this is a short one, is yet again, and this bears repeating, and I'll keep pounding this message home, is that, you really are a process. You're not really a fixed sort of, you're not a repository for fixed views that you just kind of repeat and parrot, and you just play back these views without providing the receipts. Because I see this constantly, all the time, all over the internet, and it drives me crazy that, people they've adopted this or that idea, whatever that idea is. They repeat the idea, but there's no more depth to it than that. They don't have any receipts for, they can't really go into very basic fundamental principles and explain, well, why is it that you think this way, right? It's just a ready-made fixed idea that people want to grasp onto so that they can get on with their day, and which normally just means sitting around and, just not really engaging with what it is that you believe, but you just adopt a belief, and then I can move on about my day. Okay, the same. This is the same kind of dynamic, the same kind of pattern that, like I said in a past video, this is the same pattern that the atheist and the religious person share. Okay, the atheist person is going to have a fixed view of, well, that's it. This is how I feel about it. There is no God, and that's just it. And there's no changing my mind, and I'm in a fixed point of view. And that other group, well, they're just naive and stupid. And the same thing, of course, the same trap. The religious people, the true believers, fall into the exact same trap, right? Well, I believe, and this other group over here, they're a certain way, and I just can't get with that. But I have my beliefs, I have my convictions, I'm very strong in my beliefs, and nothing's going to change that. Again, you're just in a fixed view. So you have these two groups that are in these fixed views fighting with each other, and then if you take it outside of this area of religion and atheism, then you're basically looking at a world of dualism all the way up and down the chain, right? The political process, your teams, really everything up and down the chain is this like dualism, where more and more and more, you have people that are picking one group or the other, some sort of ready-made. It's very interesting that there are these ready-made adversarial sort of superior versus inferior, ready-made fixed ideas that a lot of people will latch to one or the other, and then they'll just go to war over it. And also in that category, I should say, if you're gonna just resign yourself to saying, well, that's just how things are, then we're headed towards World War III. Okay, so that's the attitude. And that's, nothing's going to change. There's always going to be war. There's always going to be people fighting each other. There's always going to, this kind of stuff. Okay. That's only just a mindset. That's fixed thinking, essentially, is what I'm saying. But there's another way, and that way is really thinking about, well, what would it look like if instead we instead of picking a ready-made side, choosing your team, right? Choosing your RPG character or whatever it is, and then going against the other. Okay. What if there was another way? Well, there is another way, and it's been present in human history for a very long time. And that other way is really taking an attitude towards life as a process, not a fixed sort of thing. Okay? Because once we see life as it actually is, because life is a process, it's not there isn't a set of fixed ideas. That never was the way in the world. That's only the people that control you want you thinking that way. Okay? So once you open up to the idea that life is indeed a process of exploration, of inquiry, and of partnership and cooperation, okay, if you take that attitude with you everywhere you go and you treat people accordingly, okay, instead of running the old pattern, because it's a very old pattern, running the old pattern of this group versus that group or superior versus inferior, what if you start thinking in terms of partnership? What if you start thinking in terms of we have a common goal. I have needs, I have wants, you have needs, you have wants. We can either try to wipe each other out so that only one group gets their needs and wants met or whatever, right? or we can work together. Now, obviously, most people want to work together. They can sort of get past their differences on a one-on-one level or even at a group level. It's actually possible, but we have to understand that life is a process. I hope that gives you something to consider and to think about. Start thinking about life as a process instead of just ready-made, fixed teams that you can join and then you can bash the other team and then you can win, be victorious. That game doesn't work anymore. I mean, this is the colonizer mindset, okay? So that's really what I want to leave you with. I hope that gives you something to think about, and I will see you guys next time.